Hey, what is up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Mugscast.
We're going to be talking about Captain America Civil War today. We're beginning into phase 3 of the MCU now. So, when did this movie come out? Was it 2018? 2016?
Are you sure? I don't want to say
I want to think it's 2016 because 2018 was Infinity War, wasn't it?
I think so. God,
so I'm pretty sure.
It's so long ago, but
I know, yeah. It was 2016. Remember how big of a deal this was? You know, Team Cap, Team Iron Man. Wow, I forgot about that. That's crazy.
Still is a big deal.
I mean, it was just like everywhere. They're like on social media. That was everything. Like,
big deal.
That's so crazy to think about.
It's very, very, very different. Actually, real quick, I just want to make sure we throw out there. If you haven't seen this movie, spoilers.
Spoilers, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways.
And if you like what you see and everything, leave a like, subscribe. We got plenty of videos on the way. We're gonna finish out MCU. We got some Halloween videos coming up, all that sort of fun stuff. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that for sure.
Yes, we're gonna do spoilers, but if you haven't seen this movie for some reason and you're watching this likely 2-hour-long video, then watch the movie. Obviously watch all the other movies, please. But this movie is like top tier. Like
it's easily
one of the best ones that they've made.
Yeah.
So we start. This is the first movie of Phase 3, which is also weird to think about. I kind of forgot about that. And it starts just like Ant-Man did, where it just goes straight in, and there's no Marvel logo intro thing like they usually do. Not right away, anyways.
Yeah. Instead, we got a reminder. We got a reminder of what's going on with Bucky, kind of like in case for some reason you haven't seen it. So
it's 1991.
Words. Yep.
And immediately, and I think I said this. I want to say I said the same thing about Winter Soldier when we did a video on that. I wrote, this movie looks phenomenal. I think that's just down to the Russo brothers. They are just so fucking good.
It's a very good movie.
Again, visually, this one actually probably looks. I mean, they're similar, but this one has a lot more vibrancy to it in terms of the color. I think.
Well, not even just vibrancy. It's cool. It's they have very good mood lighting. Like when you need to feel like a tension, it's like darker and like very muted or very like single color.
Like the apartment scene.
Good. Yeah, like the apartment scene, or the part in the beginning where they're showing you Bucky chasing that car. It's like a very orangely, like darkly lit. Oh, it's so good. Just it feels street lights.
Yeah, it also feels like real, like too real. Like you're there with them. It's crazy.
It's good.
So he crashes into that car, takes it out, and then he pops the trunk, and you see the bags of what I guess you don't know at the time is super soldier serum, but you'll find out later. And then with that, we transition into the regular Marvel intro, and then we open into Lagos,
which
on Scarlet Witch.
I assume it's their first big mission. Like, I'm sure they've had smaller missions before this, but I'm assuming this is like their first big mission as a team.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't really consider that. There might be a line in there somewhere or something that I don't remember where they're like, we've done this or we've done that. But
but no, it definitely feels like it's their biggest mission so far as a team. Because they have new Avengers. They're training new Avengers.
Right.
But yeah, so they're doing a little recon and they're bantering a little back and forth.
Yeah, you got the whole fucking squad. It's Black Widow, Falcon, Cap, and Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
And Red Wing.
Yes, and Red Wing, sure. the greatest.
He's the best one. Yeah. So they get that. There's this kind of nice little build up where you don't know what's going on, and they're having a little back and forth banner and stuff, and you don't know what's happening, and then they kind of tag that truck, and they're like, "Oh shit, something's about to happen."
But they figured out a little too late.
Yeah, there's that phenomenal practical truck flip where you could tell they totally flipped that. Yeah, it was amazing. Looked so good.
Yep. Captain America has this badass entrance to the whole fight.
And the truck flips, and some of the other ones pull up, and Crossbones hops out.
Oh, yep.
Yep. The design on him, by the way, is phenomenal. Like they translated that really nicely to the screen. I think actually this is why subconscious. I said at Winter Soldier, I was like, he could make a good Punisher. This is why.
Exactly why. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because like it's a very similar type of thing. Like the design on the front, and then, like when he takes the helmet off and he has that hair, it's like this guy is just the Punisher. He's just evil Punisher, basically.
Yeah.
Is Crossbones usually a Captain America villain?
I don't know. I think he is. I think he's one of those like. I think he started out as something, but he became one of those villains that's kind of like just in everybody's thing here and there. I'm pretty sure he's like one of those side B characters that are like, oh, we just need them to fight somebody. I'm pretty sure that's what he becomes, but I can't remember his exact origins. But I know
often works as a henchman for the Red Skull. So yeah, he's one of Captain America's more recurring enemies. Yeah, so he is a Cap villain. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, he hops out, and I remember I had said and Winter Soldier how much I loved Falcon, like in that movie, and like him using like the dual wielding Uzis and all that stuff. And he still has them. I thought that was the last time you saw it, but he's still transitioning out of that.
Yeah.
But he does use him for a few seconds here.
Yep.
And there's some great Black Widow action here as well.
The teamwork, the teamwork in all of this is great. Like you have, what's her name? Scarlet, which like Captain America jumps in, he's like, "Oh, do this, do that," and then like he gets thrown up. Yeah, So that's the whole choreography for this fight is just is so good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's this movie was like a test in a way of the Russo brothers to see like once they saw that they nailed the fuck out of this movie, they're like, yeah, we're giving you the Avengers movies. Like you're gonna be able to handle all these characters and having them work together like so easily. Like it was kind of like a testing ground for that, and they fucking nailed it. And yeah, there's some really good like Black Widow action, but I think it's interesting because you can really tell if you're paying attention. Like it's a lot of stunt double work, a lot of like kind of cutting around her, not doing it. She used to do it. I remember watching the behind the scenes on Iron Man 2, and she was like, "I really want to like be the person doing this so that I can like."
Not pregnant for this?
Possibly. Possibly for
correctly, and if I'm wrong,
you might be right.
If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I saw
I believe you are right.
Where she was pregnant, so she was not able to do the stunt work, and I think it is this one.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I think you are right. That's actually a good point. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, you might be right. But they have to like cut around that. But at the same time, like they do it so well that like. It's almost, it's not like you're like looking at it like, oh my God, it's an obvious stunt double. You're like, oh, there's a stunt double there, but this is really good. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not in a bad way at all. So that they really managed to pull it off. Let's see. What, oh yeah. So, they go through a lot of, like the chase, they split off, Crossbones and everybody, and each of them runs and pretends like they have whatever it is they're after.
Yep.
And Cap catches up to Crossbones and like gets him down, and he pulls off the
shits on Cap a little bit.
Yeah, he gets the what do you call it? He gets his mask off, and you see like his fucked up face, and he's like, "I think I look pretty good, all things considered." And I wrote like, "Yeah, agreed. Honestly, a whole fucking building was dropped on you, and your face is just kind of like puffy, burned and puffy. It's like, what?" Like, I'm pretty sure you should be a paste. Like, but yeah, so and then I love the like tension of this scene where he's stalling and like really stalling really well. Yes. And also the fact that Cap is totally fucking dead if not for Wanda showing up. Like he would have died. But and he was seconds away from it.
Let's not overlook the important thing. Once again, it's fucking proof. Cap's weakness is Bucky. The mention of him, he does say it later, but I just want to make sure. Like,
I've got a note about it later when he talks about it.
It's true. Like this specific part right here is Cap's fault. It's not Wanda's. It's 100% Captain America's fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he does. That's what he says later. He should have noticed the bomb, like it was really obvious or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, like 0.1 seconds away from dying. Like that shit fully like explodes and she catches it. And it's like horrifying for him as well.
Yeah.
But looking at it, it's like visually like, holy shit, like he's trapped. Like his body is like, it's like this limbo. It's so crazy. And yeah, so she, throws him up to get him out of the way for the explosion and blows up a building. Like half of like an office building.
Specifically, a section of the Wakandan area.
Well, they're just there. It's not like
they're
their
there.
building. It's
not
a
their
building where they're
I'm not
meeting
saying,
with people.
But it's they're there for a meeting. Well, maybe it's
That's why I said like. That's why I said like.
I think they say
building.
a line. I think they say a line later though. Like specifically, the floor that got blown up has something to do with like Wakandan stuff though.
Like an embassy level.
Yeah,
maybe.
like an embassy level, like something like that. So
yeah, that's possible. So I don't. Oh yeah. So then we cut. Then we transition to Tony, and it's young Tony. Yeah. And honestly, this is like really like phenomenal de-aging. Like really good.
Really good. I wrote a note about that. I said it's funny how not even like a movie ago.
Yeah, you're talking about Ant-Man.
There's a slight blemish, but in this one, it's like whoa.
I know, right?
What the fuck? Like.
So, and then I was trying to figure out why I wrote this because we watched this movie a little bit ago and we're talking about it now. We're finally getting to it, but I was trying to figure out why I wrote Candace. It's because, they're talking about the girl or some girl that he's dating or something, and they're like, "Oh, you're talking about Candace," and then I was like, Candace dick fit your mouth, so I had to write it down. So anyway. But anyway, this scene is like horrifically sad. By the way, like it's just awful.
I want to say all around this movie is probably one of the darker movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's a lot of dark tones in this movie. Like holy shit.
This is just like such a horrible, and like he's doing it publicly as well. Yeah. Like it's so sad to see like, and him reliving it as well. And I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" When the older him steps out behind, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then whatever he deactivates it, but and he calls it barf. I can't remember what it stands for right now. I didn't write down the full thing. And he's giving this great speech to all these students and stuff, and like you can tell he's doing really good. Like especially after like what's it called? Happened. Age of Ultron and Iron Man 3. Like he's doing a lot better. And then immediately after this, he's gonna get everything brought down, crashing down again. But he gives everybody these grants, which is funny because my first thought was like, what if there was somebody kind of evil in that audience? Like he just funded like an evil fucking project. Possibly,
But we also get a community cast Easter egg.
Yes, but he also does, just like in Age of Ultron, he again does his classic line where he's like the omelet thing. He's like, "Let's go break some eggs," can't make it out without breaking some eggs or whatever. Like I think that was Ultron or whatever. Ultron said that. Then community cameo. That's right. Yeah, he's doing. He's like walking next to him. He's like the PA or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you should give me some money too. Whatever
he's like, hey, everybody's project.
Like, he's like, I've got a great idea for a hot dog. It's something about a hot dog. I can't remember what it is, I think. But and then they also, he kind of, falters a little bit because Pepper's not there.
Yep.
And they forgot to pick her off the captions.
Him and Pepper are apparently going through some things at the moment.
Yes.
Obviously, because he hasn't fully been able to stop like he promised.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure this was like a point where she stopped doing the movies. I thought. No, it's not that she stopped doing the movies. It's just because it's not Iron Man. It's not. Yeah, technically, she stopped doing the movies. So it's she started like being like, I'm like done with these. I'm pretty sure around here, and it was the same with like Natalie Portman. So they had to like write around it. But this one is like. It was like really good. Like for a second I was like, wait, did she? And then I was like, oh no, yeah, she did still stop, but it was just like they had such a perfect way around it.
Yeah,
that was good for his character too.
For not killing off the characters, like they just easily could be like, oh, they died off screen. No. Props to them for not having.
Then they're like, nah, later we'll just offer them like $70 million to come back. So it's fine.
It's for real though. Props to them for doing that. So
yeah. So then he goes out the back and he runs into Viola Davis, surprisingly, who as you know is. What is her name in the Suicide Squad? In both of the Suicide Squads.
I don't remember her name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's the main
Waller
lady. Waller, yeah, Amanda Waller. So that was interesting. I kind of forgot that was her. So she's in both universes. But anyway, she's.
By the way, phenomenal actor because this scene, it's a punch, man.
Yeah, it's good.
100% a punch to Tony. Like she just came right back around. And was like, my fucking son is dead. Like, bro, the way she just came at him, and you could tell like Tony 100% hurt by it. At first, he's scared because he thinks she's trying to hurt him.
Yeah,
But
I
he's
love
like
that he's still kind of like he's doing a lot better, but he still has that paranoia
paranoia.
of like
Yes.
something's gonna come back, and she reaches into her purse, and he's like, yeah, and he's like grabs
He's
her
like, no, no, no.
wrist.
He's like, hey, this isn't worth it. Like, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. He
yeah,
still has that kind of paranoia of somebody's coming back, like some ghost is coming from his past to kill him.
yeah.
And I love, she gives this whole speech, but I love the end of it is like it could have come off stupid what she says at the end. It could have come off like, oh, that's a little bit on the nose, but it's like
He did
it's
a
so
good job of
simple and it
yeah.
gets the point across in that like it felt real. Like she
Yes.
literally says, "He's dead and I blame you." And then she walks away and it's like, "Damn." Like you're like, "Damn."
It's because of her delivery. Like her delivery.
Yeah, it's the way she said, "He's dead and I
point.
blame you." And then she just mic drop and walks away. It's
yeah,
like
exactly.
and Tony's just like, "Oh fuck."
I guess some of us could say in a way she kind of did attack him, just not with a weapon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, we kept back in. They talk about how the Wakandans were killed in the explosion.
Yes, by the way, I love that. This is a movie, right? And it's Wakanda's like first real introduction. Like it wasn't introduced.
It gets one mention in Age of Ultron.
Yes, but here it's like, but they don't make this. They don't make like this big deal about it. They're just like, hey, Wakanda's here. Like they don't make this big grand thing. You know what I mean? Like,
which is a little strange at the same time because like I know they're trying to like connect with the world, but at the same time they're like this secret civilization. It's a little bit like I don't know. I like in the world it's supposed to have been going on for a little bit that they've been trying to kind of like reconvene with the larger world, but they just kind of show up and they're like, hey, we're a giant secret civilization, and they
don't know where it is, but they know of it.
Yeah, it's interesting, I guess. I don't know. So Cap, and then it is this point that I didn't write it down. Yeah, they talk about how Wakandas were killed because it's on the news. Because Wanda is watching the news, and Cap comes in and turns it off, and he basically admits to her like, Bucky, the mention of Bucky like totally fucked me up. Like you're not the only person to blame here. Yep. And Vision comes through the wall. And he's like, we got some company or whatever.
He gets yelled at. I fucking love this because she's like, Vision, we talked about it. He's like, well, I assumed the door was open, so I just and she's like, no, like it's so good. It's so good.
So then it's General Ross. He's there. And I think this is the first time we see him back, right?
Yes, it is. But you ready for this?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this scene right here, right? Them sitting on the table and Ross talking about the Sokovia Accords is actually probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie. It has nothing to do with action. But I love the scene because you get to read almost exactly everybody's look on the table. Like you can see where everybody's sided on. Like it's so well acted on everybody.
Yeah, everybody like they start to fall like into place. Like, as you every person's face that you see, you're like, oh, they're on this side, they're on this side.
100%. And it's not even just that. It's like Cap looks over to Iron Man like, "Are you gonna fucking say something?" And at this moment, he realizes like, "Okay, clearly he's not on my side on this. He's agreeing with like you can tell. It's like everybody's acting on this in this little one scene is like, mwah, so good."
Yeah, and I love Ross also mentions before we get to the little murder compilation.
Yeah.
He mentions like he brings up like some of the reasons like like why it's wrong, and he brings up like the fact that they routinely ignore sovereign borders, which is an interesting thing to think about, which is true. Like they just go wherever, and like in real life, they're based in America, and they're just like they don't work for like the government necessarily, but I mean like other people aren't really going to see it that way.
No, of course not.
And they're just like going wherever the fuck they want to or need to go, and like I could see why that would cause a lot of political problems like between countries. So then we get, the Hell compilation.
And it's funny because watching these scenes back, it's very hard to choose a side, kind of like sort of. I actually, believe it or not, agree more with Cap on this, but it's really hard to choose a side because there's so many casualties. But at the same time, had they not stepped in, dude, like the world would be over.
Yeah. No, Cap is absolutely in the right, like 100% on this. But there's, and that's what I love about this movie is that I also like given maybe like one or two extra like things would be easily swayed to Iron Man's side. Like I totally understand exactly what he's saying, and especially for him as a character, why he goes to that immediately. because of his guilt. Like it's his character. Like he always feels guilty about shit. Like it always comes back to haunt him, and that hitting him in that way makes perfect fucking sense.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Cap is absolutely in the right because, like, I mean, think about Infinity War. Like a fucking alien ship shows up. Imagine it showed up in fucking North Korea, and then they're like, "Well, sorry guys, you can't go there. Actually, like you'd be fucked. Like you have to be able to go when you want." Or where you want, when you want, to be able to fucking save the world from exploding. Like, it's too dangerous to keep them under the control of the government.
Especially like the world government, like an actual government. Yeah,
exactly.
But, so then Black Widow asks, and if we don't agree with the Accords, Ross is like, well, you retire. Like he's basically just like, go.
Yeah, I wrote the absolute fucking balls on Ross to say. And she's like, and if we don't, he's like, you retire. And I'm like, yeah, as if they couldn't murder everyone on the fucking planet if they wanted to. Like, how are you going to retire them? What are you going to do about it?
It's true.
So then we cut to Zemo.
Zemo, who, by the way, in this specific movie is a very good villain for somebody who's just a regular guy, kind of.
Like, he's top for me. I think
amazing.
I would say probably top 5 at least. So he, and watching this again as well, it makes me dislike Falcon and Winter Soldier more.
Same.
I think they took him in the wrong direction. Like he was such a psychological, like cerebral, and then in that one he just shows up with a purple mask, like blowing people's brains out. And it's like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but
should have built that up more. I
and I know, like he does have a military background, so it makes sense. But it's like, it's just not as cool. It's just not as interesting.
His attitude in Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is so different. Because it's like almost like, I don't want to say jokery, but it's more like very sarcastic, very like.
Well, no, it's that his goal is not to fight them or not to fight people. He's smarter than that. And in the other one, he's just kind of like, he just comes off as like this psycho with guns and a purple mask. Like it doesn't have the same depth to it. They could have built it.
Yeah, they could have built it as to like why he changed his attitude so much. Like maybe they did it, we're not remembering it, but I don't feel like the change from this to that was like, okay.
Yeah, and I think it's a similar thing where I talked about with Loki. I mean, even though technically the Loki that we see is the Loki that we have by that point in the MCU, it's just the problem of the time travel. So then technically it's not that Loki, so it's kind of fucked up. But anyways, so yeah, he's. I love that he also mentions here. I had thought in Winter Soldier, I was like, they do the end bit of Winter Soldier where Black Widow like releases all the files to the public, and I was like, oh, that never comes up again. That's like nothing. I was wrong, and it's a one-off line, but it's such an
impactful one. Considering
it's a very like serious consequence of her releasing those files, because it's how he found this guy and like how he got started on this whole path is through those files. So it's like actually had a huge impact on the universe in a lot of ways. So, he's interrogating the guy, mission report, and all that. And I love how, as he's drowning the guy, it's like super dark as he's drowning him, and the guy gives one last Hail Hydra. And then drowns. So cool.
In a painful fucking way. My God, dude.
So cool.
that guy.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's really dope, though. I love it.
So cut right back to the Avengers. Talking.
Yes.
And you can see, like, right from the right.
This conversation again is another one of the best scenes in the whole fucking movie. Vision's speech, and they're like back and forth, and like between Cap and Tony. Oh my God, dude! And I also love Rhodey in the scene as well. Like the shit he says. He says something like Cap says something. He's like, "I'm sorry, but that's like dangerously fucking arrogant to say shit like that." Like he's just straight up.
Tony has some really good bantering moments, but he also carries a lot of guilt.
I love. So, I think Vision says that, like, he points out specifically that since Tony had announced himself as Iron Man, shit started going down. Like, like just the very like idea of having the Avengers and having these people like invites challenge. He says,
yes, exactly. Cap says, "Or are you blaming us?" He says, "No, but." Great like power, great whatever he says invites challenge. Which,
great strength invites challenge. Yeah. It's
such a true, very very true line. It very much shows exactly what happens.
Yeah, it's which is very interesting to think about like that all the way back at the very beginning in the very first movie. It really did start all this shit. It kind of is a one-off line that sort of explains why shit has been ramping up so much in like a very good way. So I love Tony is like, you know, he's not really talking this whole time, and then he kind of goes over and he's like making some shit, and he like looks over in the back and he's like, coffee grounds on the disposal. What am I running, a bed and breakfast for a biker gang? He's like, and then he brings up you know, the kid, and he's like, oh, he throws the picture out there and he's like, oh, that's blah blah blah. He just like he pretends like he doesn't know what's going on.
He's great, bright future. He's like he wanted to take a trip before he went to college, and he could have gone to Amsterdam or whatever. And he's like, no, but he chose Sokovia to go help people.
Yeah, go help people.
It would have been amazing before we dropped the building on him, dude. Jesus.
If we hadn't dropped a building on him, I love the way he delivers these lines, dude.
Yeah.
So, and I love that you also see like what Tony, like how he does this shit to himself in that he spent the time to go out of his way looking that kid up and finding out all this information about him, just making it worse and worse and having it weigh more and more on him.
Exactly. Like,
which is,
leave it alone.
Yeah.
He can't. His curiosity gets the best of him.
And I also love, again, another great point for Cap's side here that is, he says that. What if
he says, what if they need us? What if they tell us to go someplace and we don't need to be there? And then he's like, or even worse, what if they tell us not to go somewhere and we were needed there?
And then he's also like, we can't be like under the government because the government is people with agendas and agendas change. And I was like, that's a great line.
It's a perfectly good point. It's true.
Because like, you know, it could be all, you know, roses and stuff now, like when they join and everything, but shit can be amended and they'll change their minds and be like, you know, actually, you know.
Anybody who reads the comics knows that's kind of sort of exactly what happens.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we had the X-Men. I kind of wish that we had Deadpool and we had all these properties, because let me tell you right now, Civil War could have been so much better, bro. We only got it in like one singular movie, and it's a great, amazing movie, but my God. And we had the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and just all these properties. Boy,
I still think that should have been. I mean, if that was the case, this movie would have been coming out like way later. I would hope. I would hope they would have built up to it a lot more. But I think like if that had been the case, that would have been like the culmination of this new phase we're in now, probably.
In the comics, it's like the X-Men are like, we want to stay partial, or they're being told to stay partial because, you know, they already have a lot of targets on their back, right? And then unfortunately, they get attacked and they have no choice but to choose sides. Like I'm telling you, the story could have been so much better, boy.
Cap receives a text in the middle of this conversation.
Oh wait, actually, hold on. Sorry, not to skip over that. So I don't know why I wrote this note, and it's pissing me off, man. But
what does it say?
I'm trying to remember. It says you see Vision's and Wanda's relationship kind of building up a little bit more here and here because Vision does.
They're always like sitting next to each other, and they're kind of like they have some looks back and forth and shit like that, and yeah, for sure. So yeah, Cap gets the text in here, and oh man, it hurts to just like to see that text message and just says she's gone in her sleep. Yeah, and it's like fuck, dude, fuck. Yeah. And then we smash cut to London. Yeah, and he's at the funeral. Oh man, it's rough, dude. It's so sad. Yeah. And
okay, so a couple things real quick. I just want to go over. I don't know if you heard the fan theory about this funeral. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay, so they don't show you this old guy that's picking up one of the caskets. That he's just old, and people are like, "That's Cap. Like that's the older Captain America." And
no way.
Like, no, like I understand.
That's impossible because in-game Cap looks so much like Cap. You would not be able to be like, "Hey, wait, that's you."
Apparently, you don't see his
right,
face.
But I'm talking about people at the funeral.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
there's no way that would not work. That's cool, I guess, to think about, but it's not.
But people wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, that's you," because he's technically there. So they wouldn't be like, "You're Captain America." He's just some other guy. That's what people were saying. Like, because somebody did bring in that argument. They're like, "Well, no, they wouldn't say that because Steve Rogers is still in this timeline." So they wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, you're Steve Rogers older." That wouldn't make sense. Nobody knows about time travel yet. That's what people were saying. So I mean, I kind of see it, but at the same time, it's like, man, it's a stretch.
I think that's. I don't think so because it's I was trying to say it's a different timeline. Like.
Kind of, but no, because as they say in fuck, what movie was it? Was it in a movie or was it in one of the shows where they're like, oh, in Loki, I think, where they're like, no, that was always meant to happen. Like that's not a separate timeline; it's his own
No,
timeline.
no, 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 no. Yeah, it's meant to happen, but they explain in Endgame that when you go back in time, you're in a different. You create a branching timeline. He's not actually going back in their current timeline.
But that's how they insinuate
As soon
him
as
sitting there at the bench. He never teleported back in. He's just sitting at the bench.
I know, but
Look, we'll talk.
yeah, well,
We'll
it
discuss
doesn't make any
later.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it doesn't. Okay.
All right, so
what's his name? Sam bumps.
well, no,
No, well,
because Sharon's here.
Yeah,
Sharon's
no.
here.
Sam bumps Cap on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, look up," because Sharon's at the fucking podium and she's giving a speech. And I wrote Sharon Carter is a waste of a character in this movie.
This is. I was gonna point out as well, like in Winter Soldier and stuff. He starts to have feelings for her in Winter Soldier, and still here. And this is where he finds out that they're related. So a lot of people are like, "Ooh, this is so weird." He's like trying to bang her daughter or granddaughter or whatever she is, or her niece, right? I don't think isn't it her aunt. Niece. And then, but then, like he was already like into her before he ever knew that they were related at all. Yep. So I don't think it's that weird.
I mean, honestly. He does kiss her later, so yeah, it's kind of weird. But whatever.
No, I know, but I'm saying like they were already like basically like flirting and into each other before he ever knew that shit. Nowhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it's not like he was like, "Ooh, so you're her niece, huh? You want to fuck?" Like like he found out afterwards.
Yeah.
So. Really sad as well afterwards. Everything happens, and I think he's talking to really Black Widow.
Yes, this moment right here. I wrote Natasha's easily one of the best Avengers because she hits him with that one really good line where she's like, "Why are you here?" And she's like, "I didn't want you to be alone." Like, you could tell she loves everybody in there. Like, she honestly, it's so funny because she's supposed to be this like cold, ruthless spy, but she loves everybody on the team.
She's torn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says as well in this, like another line that just fucking hits like hard. And he's just like, I came back and I thought I'd lost everything. And when I found out she was still alive, I was just lucky to have her. I was like, damn, that's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
And then, she's like, I didn't want you to be alone. And they have a nice little hug in there and it's really nice. And then we're in Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Chadwick Boseman. He's here.
Now, listen. I wrote, okay, it has nothing to do with him dying because I wrote, I love Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. And no, it's not because he's dead. He has a way that he carries himself where he does seem like very noble, but at the same time very powerful. And like, dude, he carries himself in this movie so damn good, bro. Like, you can tell he's like noble blood, but at the same time, he's like, talk shit, get hit, bro. Like, he does both so well. Like, he really does.
What happens? So he's there and he's talking to Black Widow and his dad comes up and they're having that conversation, which is nice. And it's just, I got chills. I think I get like every time, but I got chills. Like when the explosion happens and you see like that he realizes what's going to happen, like right before it happens.
Yeah.
And he's like, everybody get down. And then boom, it's like, it's crazy. It goes off like right where his dad is as well. And he gets like thrown so high. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Oh, something happens with Sharon and Steve. I believe they're at like a bar or something. She's telling him information or something. I can't remember what it is. It's a scene with Sharon and Steve because I wrote this relationship building with Steve and Sharon is a waste of fucking time. But there's a scene with them. I can't remember what it is. I think they're all sitting at like the bar and they're discussing it. Or I think she shows him like on I can't remember what it is, bro. But something happens because they're talking about what happened at the with the whole T'Challa thing. They're talking about that.
Oh yeah, cause she's giving him information because they find out that it's quote unquote Bucky. That's what they're saying that it's Bucky.
Yeah.
And we get that scene with Black Widow and T'Challa. Which is just actually wait. Hold on. That's in a little bit. I actually wrote as well. I was getting really into it, like when he fucking like when he's like the sound is all out and you can't really hear him, and he's like with his dad's body, and like that fucking performance, holy shit, like he's so good. And it's like you don't have any connection to them, but I still was like, fuck, this is really sad, like because you don't really get anything with his dad, so you're not really like super connected, but damn, his performance really sells it. So then they talk about Bucky, and then we get that scene between him and Black Widow. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill that guy.
Dude, he turned his backs on the Accords so fast, bro.
Yeah.
So fast. This man flip-flops a lot, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he's like, oh, you gotta wait for the right people to do the right thing. And he's like, no need. He's like, I'll take care of it myself. Like, dude, Jesus.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna kill that man myself. So then we cut to Zemo again, and in his little hotel room.
Real quick, okay? So in all seriousness, like, don't think I'm stupid, because I swear to God, bro, this scene was not meant to be built as he was in his hotel room, okay? Think of it like your first time watching this. There's no way you thought this was a hotel room. You thought he was, like, secretly in this room, right? And, like, his wife or something, I swear they built it to where his kid, like, his family's alive, because it's supposed to be a big twist. But they build it. They don't show you who the woman is handing him food. She just kind of hands it through the door, and she like kind of like just to like walk in. And he's like, no, like I'm working. Like that's how he kind of builds it off. Like they try to build it off like it's not.
You are tripping. It's very clearly like housekeeping, like hotel. She literally like says it when she gets there. She's like housekeeping or whatever.
I swear she does.
Yeah,
I swear she does. I could be wrong. I wasn't fully paying attention on this scene, but I could be wrong. But I
100%. Yeah, that's like it. Yeah, you must have just like. Missed something or misread it, but it's definitely not. They're not trying to make it that at all. It's just like a housekeeper, and he's trying to keep her out because like they pan back and you see the machine that he uses later to cut out the generator. Because he's just trying to keep her out.
You see the hand in the bathtub.
No, you see the machine.
Is it the machine?
Yeah, the hand in the bathtub. That's not. No, that's later. That's because that's when she like goes in to find the body.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. Sorry, my bad. Yep.
But yeah, you see like this massive fucking machine. You're like, what the hell is that? And
you feel like his family's still alive though when he's listening to the voicemails.
That's not what? No.
Yes, he's not. Yes.
The whole point of that is that he's listening to them because he's sad. Yes, you're out of your mind.
No. Okay, so you automatically knew that his family was dead before the ending of this movie. The first time you watched that, you didn't think
yes.
Talking to him?
Yes, 100%. I would not lie to you. I would not lie to make it seem better. Yes, as soon as you see him listening to a voicemail and getting sad, and you can tell, and like they let it play through, and you know that it's a voicemail. Like I'm not.
It's a voicemail, but what I'm saying is, you would think he's doing something bad for a reason, but you don't realize it's for his family right away. I swear that's not how they build it up, dude. They try to build it up like his family's still alive, and then he's just missing their phone calls or ignoring them right now because he's doing something bad.
Maybe I didn't know that he was doing it for his family, but I definitely figured they were dead.
Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong.
But anyways,
let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens? Bucky is like buying some food from a food cart or whatever. The guy like recognizes him and like fucking books it off. He's like scared as shit. And then he goes back to, or we got Cap going into Bucky's apartment. And the whole apartment scene is just so fucking good, dude. It's so good. All their conversation, and like Bucky's trying to pretend like he doesn't recognize him because he just doesn't want to like go through all this shit. And they start fighting. The people start breaking in. You get this crazy good stairwell sequence with Bucky and Cap.
I love that they use the table to block the fucking door. Like, dude, he flips that shit. Like, he's choreographed that before, bro. He's done it before. He's like, I gotta see if this works. There's no way you see that first shot, bro. Fuck off.
There's one point like Bucky's running down, and this guy, he pulls out his radio like, we need back up, and Cap just picks it up. And he's like, fuck your radio. He just crushes it in his hand.
Dude, so I swear to God, right? So when this happened, I kept picturing like Bucky just kept choreographing this himself, because he just throws that backpack out there. Again, there's no way he did this first shot, bro. Like he's tested that out multiple times. He's like, gonna throw this over there, and I guarantee it'll work when I need to escape. Like, I just picture him.
Of course, it's like an escape route for him. Yeah, definitely. He had to have like a way out for anything. Like, that's his kind of training, I guess, is always like be ready.
And I put Buck for sure killed at least 2 people in this fucking scene. At least minimum 2 people.
Yeah, he was beating the shit out of them.
There's one guy, he like fucking full. Jesus Christ, bro, he falls. to the wall, bro. Like with his fucking metal arm. Fuck you. He's dead. That guy did not survive.
And so he jumps out of the roof, and then boom, Black Panther's there.
Yep,
Great reveal. Suit is phenomenal, and then we get this fucking amazing like foot chase.
Yeah.
Which is always fucking great to see the like comparison of them like booking it, and then you see like them compared to other fucking cars, like how they're just passing everything. It's like, whew.
Yes, real quick. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you might though. Do you know that everything from this scene is practical?
Yeah.
When I say practical, I mean like. So do you ever watch like stuntmen react and shit like that? I'm sure you watch that channel with Quarter Digital.
I've seen a few videos for sure.
So they went over some of this MCU stuff. So I can't remember the stuntman's name, but he's fucking amazing. He really was dropped from the roof. Like obviously there was a cord on him, but he literally dropped from that roof, landed. That run, they have wires on them, so they run faster with like little tracks. But like they're actually running next to those cars. The cars are being flipped. Like, dude, the stunt work in this.
The cars, I'm sure, are also driving slower to give that illusion. I've seen that before as well. Yeah.
It's so good though. Like the fact that them making this scene practical is what makes it so amazing. Like you know the part where Buck takes the bike and he like flips.
Yeah, the bike flip. That I had that in the
Also practical, by the way. There's like a rig that they set up. It's so good. I just want to make sure
you can tell, man. You can just tell.
But then not everybody can tell. Some people just think, "Oh, this is so fake." No, dude. Like everything in this scene.
I don't know. I think there's a palpable like difference. Like if that bike had been CGI, you can tell. Like you just feel it. You can tell. You're like, this is happening. Oh my
god, bro! Because you can tell the weight of everything happening. It's just so.
Or even not that. Even just like as a regular audience member, if you weren't focused on that, you wouldn't be thinking, "Wow, this is really happening." You'd just be thinking, "This is so fucking good." Like you wouldn't be thinking one way or the other because you're so immersed. Because that's what practical effects do. They just pull you in, and you just don't even realize what's happening. So they get caught and, wheeled off or whatever. And we cut over to Vision and Wanda, and Vision's trying to make some paprika, or paprikash, I think it was, or something like that. And it's really interesting looking back now at all these movies with like perspective. The fact that Vision is in Age of Ultron for like 30 minutes. And now he's already here, and you feel like he's a full character, and they're already jumping into his relationship with Wanda. It's like immediate. Like you barely even know him. Like he's been in one movie for like 30 minutes, and like we're already like launching into this, and it's fine. Like I'm totally into it. Like it's not weird. Like that was always. I mean, when these movies were coming out, when they introduced Vision, I was like, ooh, are they gonna do like Vision and Wanda? It'll probably end up being kind of cringy, but they nailed it. Like they did it really well.
They did.
And he stops her from leaving, and reveals like that Tony wants her to not go out for safety for hers and for other people's. Yeah. And let's see, we're in Berlin. They're kind of traveling. They're getting taken in, and I love that line where they're in there with it's Black Panther, Cap, and Falcon, and Falcon's like, "So you like cats?" And Cap's like, "Dude, like really now?" And he's like, "What?" Like, dude shows up dressed as a giant cat, and you don't want to know more. And they get out and they go in, and it's Martin Freeman as Everett Ross, which is he's really really good, by the way. I
love him. Wait till you watch Black Panther. I love him in that movie so much.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I was like, I feel like he's probably gonna have like one of those like American accents that's like, you can kind of tell. But his American accent is really fucking good, man. Like really good. I can't imagine anybody seeing him like if they didn't know of him otherwise. I can't imagine anybody seeing him and being like, oh yeah, that guy's British. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. And that same thing goes for Tom Holland.
Tom Holland's is a little bit like. There's some weirdness to it. There is some weirdness to it, though.
Very New Yorky, just so you know, it's supposed to be very thick.
Yeah, but there is just like a little bit of like something there. But this one just feels like real.
Genuine, yes.
Yeah, like very genuine.
But with Tom Holland, I can't tell you the amount of comments where I saw where people were like, I didn't know he was British. Like, and I'm like,
yeah, I didn't know either. I didn't know at all. But it's like once you know. Watching it back, you're like, oh, there's a little bit of stuff here and there. But this, even knowing, I'm like,
To be fair, I knew before the movie. The only reason that I knew before the movie is because I saw an interview. That's the only reason I knew. Obviously, before the interview, no, I didn't know.
Yeah, I wasn't aware, and I when I found out afterwards, it like blew my mind for him.
Yeah.
But anyways, so they bring up here that they say something about how like Cap Shield is technically the government's property, which I thought was interesting. After saying Falcon and Winter Soldier, they make some mention of that, like technically it belongs to the government or whatever, as they take it away from him. So they talk about how him and Pepper are on a break. This is where he like kind of brings that up fully and goes a little bit more into depth. And I love the way he delivers that line where it's like shit, like they were talking and stuff, and he's like, yeah, I was supposed to stop, and I did stop, and she wants me to stop, and he's like, but the truth is, I don't want to stop, and I need this, like this is me, and I want to keep doing it.
Yep. I wrote at this point, I fucking hate Tony in the first half of this movie so much, bro. I actually legitimately fucking dislike him because yes, you can see some of his point, but he's so damn aggressive about it, bro. Like he kind of like, I understand that he's trying to protect him and he's a smartass, but at the same time, he's kind of just like, hey, fuck you, like, bro. Like he flat out tells Captain, like, I hated you. Like growing up, I couldn't stand you. Like he's like, my dad would talk about you all the time, and I couldn't stand you. And then he's like, and then there's another part where he's like, I want to punch you in your perfect teeth. Like,
yeah,
it's a legit like hate on his half, bro. Like. There's a legit like slight hate from Tony.
But yeah, but it's
hey, Captain America's the villain now. Fuck him, like bro. Like that's what it feels like. Like
no, but it's reciprocated from Cap, especially once he finds out about the shit that he's like doing, like keeping Wanda locked up. You can tell he's like, man, fuck you. I really was starting to trust you, you piece of shit. Because Cap hates him just as much.
Yes, but it's easier to side with Cap because it does feel like Tony, you're being kind of a fucking scumbag. Like
I disagree, especially in this scene because of the way that he like sets up this kind of. I love this scene, by the way. This is such a nice moment between them two as characters. I absolutely love any interaction you get between them because of how polar opposite they are and how much like they kind of hate each other, but at the same time they respect each other. Yes. They have such an interesting dynamic.
They're both so headstrong in their goals that they're willing to put any love that they had for each other kind of to the side. Yes, they respect each other, but right now there's legitimate hate between the two.
That's the thing. Sure. That's what I love about the scene is how like cool like they are about it with each other and the respect that they have and like the way Tony pulls out the pins and he's like, listen, like let's do this. Like you see what's going on here. You see why this is wrong. Just like come on, like work with me here. He's and you can tell. As well, because of the way he says like that line, he's like, I'm really fucking trying here. Like this is really difficult. I'm trying to hold all this together, just me alone. I have this pressure to like pull everyone together because Ross is like putting it on him and like all this stuff, and you can tell like it's weighing on him heavily.
Yeah. So I put the note. He almost had Cap, bro. Like Cap was literally right there.
He was gonna sign.
Line just no sinker, bro. Once he found out about the whole Wanda thing, he's like, nah. Fuck you, like, bro. He's like, she's a kid. Like, it's funny.
Like, he's being
a kid, but she's
like,
it's weird to me. But
Tony is being like so like good about it because Cap is even like, yeah, but what if we can like? He's like, there have to be some changes or whatever. And Tony's like, yeah, dude, we can amend anything. Like for now, we just need to get this signed, and then we'll work it out from there. And like they're so nice with each other, and then. That one thing happens and the whole thing comes crashing down. And I don't think Tony's an asshole for this. Like, I think I totally get it. Like, it's the same thing. Like, if you were on Tony's side, you'd be like, God, Cap is such an asshole for flipping out on him after finding out about Wanda. If you were on Tony's side, which we're not.
No, neither of us are. But I'd still be like, if this is supposed to be Accords and this is supposed to protect him, why does he have Wanda trapped? Like, I get, she killed people on accident, but like, if she's signing the Accords and she's trying her best, you shouldn't have her trapped. Plain and simple.
He's trying to do it for like a PR, more of like a PR sense. Really.
Yeah. Okay, so check it. Okay, so it does make sense because in the the Civil War comics, not the original one, but the Civil War comics that came out recently, not with Ms. Marvel. But so I don't know if you know how it happened. Do you know how that happened?
How what happens?
Why the Civil War and the Accords come into place in the comics? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, I don't remember. You probably know, but I don't know.
So what ends up being the final straw on the broke the camel's back is there ends up being this team of mutants that are very young, extremely fucking young, that are out and they're recording the show and they're like, oh haha, we're gonna stop villains, blah blah blah, and they So they see this like extremely high level mutant, and they're very torn and back and forth. Of should we do this? Should we not? They're like, oh, we're gonna get so much press, and it's gonna be amazing for us, and blah blah. So they kind of like come off slightly like jokey and not taking it as serious as they should. So they go to take on this team, and this guy that they end up going against blows himself up. That's his ability. He can fucking nuke himself basically. So he nukes himself next to a school, and basically there's almost no survivors.
Right.
Almost absolutely no survivors. Right.
So very similar then. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very similar. So what ends up happening is. You think, God, I'm gonna be so mad if I can't remember this properly. But you end up thinking like that kid went into hiding, but you come to find out that he's actually being tortured by either the government or somebody else. Like they capture him and beat the fuck out of him for having this happen. But like, so yeah, I guess maybe putting Wanda safely away is kind of nice. But
yeah, exactly. Because
but at the same time,
Tony wasn't there either. Like Tony wasn't there. All he knows is these videos of explosions and hell.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So from his mind, he's like, she can't control this shit. Like she doesn't know what she's doing yet. Yeah. Better safe than sorry until we get this locked down. Like I don't. I really get like both of them, and I don't think either of them are being more like assholes about it. Like Tony feels so much like. Even if he's not necessarily in this position, he feels like he has to be he is in the position of like I have to do this. I have to get everybody together and fix this shit because we all fucked it up and now I'm the one that has to fix it. Because it's my fault. That's what he feels. Yeah. So maybe he snaps a little bit here and there, but like he's putting himself under so much stress and pressure from all this that I honestly don't blame him. Yeah. And it's very within his character too, for sure.
Yep. So,
so Cap so close to signs, but he doesn't. He decides not to. And right after this, we get a quick cut over to the power plant, and this random delivery driver is delivering a package.
We get this amazing buildup. Something's about to happen. You're not 100% sure just yet, but like, oh shit, like something's about to go down because they're showing you they're panning to this and they're panning to that. And
they're cutting to this, back and forth between this and him, interviewing Bucky or like doing his psychologist routine.
I want to go on record to say that I take it back as to remember how I always said like, oh, Winter Soldier, he takes an L, like Bucky takes an L out, like he gets lost after loss, right? But we just in this scene we get proof as to he holds back. Bucky holds back a lot, even when he's fighting like enemies that are trying to kill him. He holds back because in this scene he accepted defeat. He's just sitting there, right? He's like, fuck it. He's like, I'm accepting defeat. I lost. He's just in there fucking trapped. So then you have Zemo who starts to read the code words. And it goes to show you that he could have broken out that whole time had he not held back. Bro,
I love that.
He just smashes that shit. And then Zemo gets his mission report.
And I like to think as well that he could have even gotten out of there faster if not for the code words like fucking him up. I like to think like he could have just like honestly beat that shit like 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
But this also goes to show you in everything from here on out, like when he's under the control of those code words, he's not holding back at all. He's just pure evil. Mm-hmm. And I know that's a thing, right? But it's like even when he's almost close to dying, like in fucking Winter Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he still holds back because he could have beaten like half these fucking people and he just doesn't.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to kill people anymore. Yeah, it's like terrifying to him. He has PTSD from it.
So I just want to make sure that I take it back that L's, but it's like I get why. I understand.
Almost intentional.
He's trying to make up for everything he's done.
So I also love as well, like especially on a first watch, Zemo's constant asking about the mission report is so fucking intriguing. You're like, what is this, dude? Yeah, like he's asking about it and asking about it. Everybody he meets is like, mission report, December 16th, 1991 or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? What is it? What? Like, come on. It's so interesting. And I love, so he starts to break out because he starts doing the code words. And you see like Tony and Black Widow are walking like to go, they're walking to go like stop him or whatever, and Black Widow's like, please tell me you brought a suit. And he's like, yeah, of course I did, a 3-piece Tom Ford. What do you think? I'm here like trying to stop a war, not show up with an Iron Man suit. Yep.
But Zemo Zemo tries to play innocent. He does. And Cap sees through that. Cap's just like, who the fuck are you? Like, bro, he honestly knows.
So interesting. I don't know why he does know though, because the cameras go out and he's just like this like meek little psychologist guy, and Cap's like, nah, fuck this guy. You're definitely something. Like,
think about it though. Like, it's too convenient. Cap's definitely seen this before. It's way too convenient for him to go out right when he's down there and then Bucky escapes. Nah, he knows something's up.
I think though that honestly, Zemo probably could have just kept pretending and he could have gotten away with it. But he was also, but at that point, he was like, he was trying to get Bucky to attack him, so he was like just trying to stall until Bucky hit him. So I guess.
Then we have Tony's non-lethal fucking tool.
My God, the fucking repulsor watch, dude. This is one of my favorite fucking scenes in the entire MCU.
Oh, it's so cool, dude.
Just the camera work here, it's like this kind of like shaky, like cam on him as he like walks in, and he activates it. You see it on his hand, it like goes on his hand, and then you like shaky cam like following him behind as he just walks in. He goes boom, 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 and he gets right in and starts punching him and shit. And they do a little hand to hand. Bucky shoots the gun and like, but it's in the repulsor hand, and Tony's like, "Fuck!" Like that was close.
But then even better, it's like not Tony, but Buck starts to kind of get his ass whooped a little bit, but he absolutely shits on just about everybody in this. Like Scarlet tries to grab him and he like fucking slams that bitch through a table. And then fucking Black Panther shows up and he like Black Panther shits on him a little bit, but then Bucky gets away after he like manages to get Black Panther off him for a second. He gets away.
Okay, maybe you remember this better than I did. We're gonna get a Black Panther very soon, but well, actually, not very soon. It's like 3 movies away, weirdly enough. But he doesn't. Does he have the Black Panther powers at this point?
Oh, yes. You're talking about like the
just the Black Panther powers. Just the Black Panther powers. He has them
because I believe he is told. I believe like they're like, well, now you're taking the mantle, so we're gonna make you temporary king. So he is given this quote unquote serum that is given to the Black Panthers. It gets taken on him later in the movie, just so you know.
Yeah, he does have wondering because it's so weird that he never uses the kinetic energy thing.
Oh, you're talking about the kinetic energy from the suit? No,
I get they wanted to save that. I get they wanted to save that.
He does not have that yet. That is given to him in the movie when they give him a new suit. But
doesn't he just show up in Black Panther and like use it on those guards or something in like the forest?
No, not at all.
I thought he did. Well, anyway. Yeah, okay. So I guess that explains it.
Wait till you watch. I don't want to spoil nothing. Wait till you watch it because the first time he uses it, you're like, oh, this is actually really cool. So yeah, I don't want to tell you yet.
I mean, I remember like one of the first scenes of him using it, but I just don't remember like how it happens. I guess, but I remember the visuals of it. It's like on a highway, I think, or on a bridge.
Yeah. Oh, so good, bro. I can tell you definitely have not watched this movie because you did not give Black Panther enough credit. Wait till you watch it again.
No, what do you mean? I've watched the movie. It's just I've watched it one time when it came out in theaters and never since.
You haven't watched it more than once because that's what I'm saying. Like you don't give it enough credit. You're like, oh, I don't remember it that much, and you kind of scored it not super low, but slightly low.
Yeah, but it's because it was just like kind of forgettable mostly. Yeah.
But no, when you watch it again and knowing, oh, dude, it's just so good. I actually always liked that movie. I thought it was really good.
So,
though.
You said what?
I think I might have scored it semi-low too, though. Either that or like in the upper half.
Well, because it's still, I mean, it's good. It's got a lot of interesting concepts, but it's not. There's a lot of movies in the MCU that are better than it for sure.
No, for sure.
But so yeah, then we get the helicopter scene, the iconic helicopter scene. Practical again. Cap, I can't remember what they just had something pulling on that thing so that he was straining as much as humanly possible, so you can tell like holy shit.
But they so the stunt went wrong. And he pulled a muscle. Yeah.
Which isn't surprising.
I know. But it was never supposed to be pulled that far. Just enough to, like you said, where it looks like he's straining. But they overpulled and he pulled his muscle.
Yeah. So I also love as well, we get kind of the inverse of Winter Soldier where they go down and then Cap is the one pulling Bucky out of the water in this case. And this, then we cut over to Zemo listening to the voicemail. Of like his wife and his kids or whatever.
It's not a full voicemail, bro. Like I'm telling you,
full voicemail. What do you mean?
No, he cuts it off. Like I don't know, bro. Just we're good. Let's just go. Like,
I can tell you 100%. You are pretty much alone in this. I know you know as well because like when you started saying it, you're like, tell me if I'm crazy because like it's not most people. I know. I know.
Like I'm not offended about it.
It's not weird. It's fine.
I can perceive it like his family. Who cares? Moving on.
So then we get this is what they use as an after credit scene for Ant-Man, them walking in there.
So weird. That doesn't happen. That does not happen a lot. I think I can only remember 2 times where they use a scene from the next movie. I can only remember 2 times. That's it.
And it's the whole trailer for the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because now that I'm thinking about it,
that was the Avengers also used, or one of them also used. What was it? Was it Captain? No, it wasn't Captain America.
Punching the bag. He punched the bag. The punching bag.
Was it? Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that used a scene from the Avengers.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen a lot, which is so weird because
then is it Hulk? Hulk also used a scene from Thor, although it was different angles, but it's still the same scene.
It's more like a tease, but it's not an actual scene.
I mean, he was a scene. Like he says that line for line. Like it's the exact same thing. It's just like shot differently.
Yeah.
Different angles, but yeah. So. Yeah, this is really fucking cool when you find out, he starts to explain about the extra super soldiers and all that shit that went down.
Oh my god. What
this scene of him like escorting the guy through the fucking like absolute mayhem is so fucking cool. Like he's just like so like down to earth about it. He's just like grabs his arm, he's like, come with me, like we're going, and he's just like not stopping for anything. He's like beating people out of his way. He's like, well, I'm getting you out of here. It's really fucking cool.
Yes. Also, fuck you to anybody who dares say, like, all these years later, they're like, I always knew that twist was coming with the super soldiers being dead. Like, fuck you. There's no way.
No one knew that.
Everybody thought 100%.
I've never heard anybody say that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like, actually, if you paid attention, you would know.
Yeah,
it's
no. Like, there's no way. They 100% made you think that they were about to have a super soldier army. Like a mini army. There's no way you think
like it's totally believable for you to say like, yeah, I could tell that Zemo, like his family died. Like that's believable. But if you're like, of course he was gonna kill these guys. Like no, nobody fucking knew that.
Yeah.
There's no way because it's such like a classic Marvel movie setup. Like, this is such a subversion for a Marvel movie to have that happen. Yeah. And I said, they really set these guys up to be like this insane final battle force. And I'm like, damn, this is good. And it's good the way they set him up.
Yeah, it's so good.
So then we cut. So they're talking. What does he say? Oh, so then same as we got in the Ant-Man. Falcon's like, I know a guy. Or I got a guy that we can call.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to Tony Black Widow, and he's like,
looking for somebody.
I also know a guy.
Yeah.
She's like, I've got a guy, and he's like, I've got a guy. Who's yours? And she's like, he's downstairs, and she's like, who's yours? And then boom, Queens.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! Can you imagine?
Go ahead.
Let's just. I just want to take a moment. Everybody out there, anybody who's watching this, like our 6 viewers who might see this video, just take a moment with me and imagine a world in which we all went into the theater, okay,
without knowing a damn thing,
and let's just say there was not a trailer. There just wasn't even a trailer for this movie, and everybody went into this theater. And he says, I know a guy. And it cuts to Queens, and everybody collectively shits their pants, vomits, fucking pees, and just fucking has an aneurysm together. Seeing that happen and seeing him walk in, like, holy shit. Like, it would have been mind-blowing if they had not done that. Not because, like, you think about it, oh my god, it's really cool. They got Spider-Man, but it's also... They got Spider-Man in the MCU. Like that was the biggest fucking deal of all time that they did that.
Check it. All right. So for the trailer, okay. Every time they showed a trailer for Civil War, Spider-Man was never in it, even though
they edited him out. Yeah, they like the scenes of them running. No, the scenes 100%. Of them running towards each other. They did. They removed him.
They did not. They actually did not. No, I promise you they didn't. Because unfortunately, up until like, if I remember correctly, seeing the interview, I think it was reading the interview. They did not get the rights to Spider-Man until like 2 days before the fucking trailer. They actually edited it. God damn it, I can't speak. They actually put him into the trailer. He was actually not in the trailer. They had to edit him into the trailer. It was almost like 2 days before that trailer came out. They put in so much work to put him into the trailer because they did not get the rights to him right away. Sony was playing fucking hardball and they were not giving up Spider-Man.
That is true. But I just looked it up right now. There's a picture right here of comparison from the trailer and then the actual movie itself, where Spider-Man is standing. They edited it out.
Oh, so they did. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's only I'm sure you're right. There are scenes where they added him like for the end, but there's like the point where they're all facing off like in the airport and running at each other. They edited him out of that because they did have him at that point. I think what did happen is that I want to say they filmed it all, but I know what you're saying. They couldn't do it, but I think they had filmed his shit, but they couldn't put it in. Because they hadn't done it yet. Yeah. So like if they hadn't gotten the rights, they were just going to cut it out.
Yeah.
Which they could have easily done when you really think about it. Like it's not
in that long.
They could have cut him out entirely, pretty much. So they were just trying to. Yeah, they were. That's what it was. They didn't have the rights yet, so they couldn't put him in the trailer until like the third one. So they edited him out of the first ones. And they were just like crossing their fingers, like hopefully this goes through, because otherwise we have all this footage that we're gonna have to get rid of like Tom Holland and this shit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thankfully that didn't happen, and we got that.
Yes. So, So, anyways, you have Tony. He's sitting down talking to the ant.
Also, Peter's wearing a pizza shirt, which is a nice little reference.
Yes. Even better. So, I don't know if you know this. This is completely side trivia, nothing to do really with the MCU, sort of. But so you know how like Tony's all like, "Oh, your aunt, she's so beautiful," blah blah blah. Like, like the aunt thing has like a nice back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you knew this or not. So I think her name is Melissa Tomei. I think that's her name.
Melissa, Marissa.
Marissa, yeah, there you go. So her and Robert Downey Jr. were actually a couple for a while.
I do believe I read about this a while ago. Yeah.
So like
a long time ago.
It didn't end well between them. So for them to have this much on-screen chemistry is really nice. There's no ill will towards each other. But I believe when I read in the interview, they hadn't seen each other after their really shitty ending of a relationship. Because like back then, what happened with Robert Downey Jr. I won't get into it.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure they worked it out though.
I'm sure they did because they have amazing chemistry. Like the little parts of them back and forth. Where he's like, "Oh, she's just like, dude, like it's so fucking funny."
So yeah, he's just making shit up about like this grant or whatever, and I love the looks that he's giving him. He's like, "Yeah, remember when you emailed me?" He's like, "Emailed me?" like. Come on, dude, and Peter catches on or whatever, and they go back to his room to quote unquote talk about it. Yeah. And Tony's just kind of like looking around. He's like, "Is this you? This is you, right? Like lifting all these fucking like 4 tons of a car and shit." And he's like, "No, that's crazy." He's like, that shit's like CGI. Like they just make that shit on the internet or whatever." And then and Tony's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, really?" Yeah. It was like the little attic suit that he has, and it just pops down. And he's like, "Oh, so you're the Spider-Ling, Spider Boy,
Spider Kid." He's like Spider. He's like
Spider-Man. And he's like, "Who else knows?" And he's like, "Nobody." And Tony's like, "Not even your unusually attractive aunt." I love that line. And they also reveal here that this is 6 months into him being Spider-Man. Which is a very important thing that I had forgotten because I didn't kind of really remember how long it had been. Yeah. I didn't know if they had ever said it, but they do. So they talk about, that we get our reference towards Uncle Ben here, which is the furthest they ever go in the MCU in terms of Uncle Ben.
So there's actually a scene in this that's a blooper. I don't know if you know this or not.
I wrote it. Yeah, I'm going to sit here, so you move the leg.
Yep, that was completely like,
so funny.
I guess Tom Holland forgot that he was supposed to move over.
They had like rehearsed the scene and they were doing it or whatever, and Tom Holland was supposed to like get up and move over so that Robert Downey could sit down. Yep. But he didn't. He like forgot. He was like so caught up in the scene, and so he just walks up. And he's like, "I'm gonna sit here, so you move the leg."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah. He's like,
But they kept going, which is really cool.
Which is great. It goes to show the professionalism of them.
I love that. Yeah, it's funny actually. Like scenes like that. That's a scene in this. Funnily enough, and there's a scene in The Amazing Spider-Man that also is an outtake that made it in. Which eventually we'll talk about those movies. But there's a point where he like drops some shit and catches it, and like he wasn't supposed to, but they left it in, and like we'll talk about those movies eventually. I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to 100%. We're gonna go through each of the Spider-Mans of the past.
Yes, until probably leading up until No Way Home. That's gonna be fun.
Actually very soon. Shit.
Yeah, no, fuck. Man, then the Eternals is very fucking soon as well.
Oh, Jesus. I gotta go within the first 2 days, boy. We gotta get that crowd.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, what's happening? So yeah, then he's like, so you need to come to Berlin with me or whatever. And he's like, I can't go.
You're glossing over a very important part real quick because, Tony asks him, why this? Why be a hero? He basically tells him you can make money off of this, and Peter's like, oh, because you should always help the little guy, blah blah blah. Like, and that's when Tony actually 100% becomes convinced on the spot. I can't remember the exact speech, but that's when he becomes fully convinced. Where he's like, okay, I made the right choice.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when I said the Uncle Ben thing. Like, that's when he says, if you have these abilities and you don't do them, then the bad things happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely, obviously it's reference to like the whole Uncle Ben, but it's also very important because that is exactly 100% where Tony was like, okay, I made the right choice. Like, you can see it in his face where he's like, okay, yes, this is it. Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And he's also like, all right, well, you're coming with me. And he's like, better go tell Aunt Hottie. And then it cuts away. Yeah. And we're back at the compound.
It cuts away where he's like, he threatens him. He's like, okay, you don't want to come with me? He's like, I'll just go tell your aunt out here. And then like he traps him on the door with the web. And they have and then he's like, fine, I'll go with you. Just don't tell Aunt May, right? And then they have like this awkward 5 second silence. He's like, get me out of this. Like,
get this off me. Yeah.
It's so good.
It is great. So then we're back at the Avengers compound with Wanda and Vision. And then Clint shows up, which is so fucking cool. I forget sometimes that he's even in this movie, to be honest, but it's really cool. And I think this is my favorite Hawkeye look. His look here is fucking awesome. His suit, like the way he has one hand or like one arm gloved is so fucking dope. And it's just like all black. He's got good hair, unlike Endgame. But and then get Wanda like pushing Vision into the ground, which is kind of crazy. And then they escape.
It's great because he has to convince Wanda. First of all, like he has to convince her. She's still like kind of mind washed, where she's like, I have to stay here. Like, and he's like, no. He's like, you don't. Blah blah blah. And so Clint tries his best to outwit Vision, but I mean, let's be honest, still wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
But basically, like when Clint's being held by like Vision, Clint's kind of like, but she can, and then she fucking shits on Vision, bro. Like, Jesus Christ, like, how far down he went?
I don't. Who knows, dude? Honestly. And you can also see a little bit of like how she has so much control of him because you see the Mind Stone glow a little bit because of that connection there, which is a nice little bit of foreshadowing. And so then we cut over to meeting up with Sharon, and they're getting their gear back.
It's funny because he says, "Hey, can you move your seat up?" And he's like, "No." But in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it happens opposite later. Yeah, which is great.
That's just like a classic thing. And then they had their kiss, and he looks over, and they're like, "Yeah, let's go!"
Yeah, they hype him up, which is great. But at the same time, it's like this character went nowhere. So,
well, so far we'll see how they end her off. I guess.
I'm saying the relationship building between them is just meh. It was pointless. Like you could tell they didn't 100% know where they were going with that relationship building. You can tell.
I suppose. I think it's one of those things where like the Russo brothers were setting that up, and then they, after all the other shit that happens in all these other movies, they come back to it. They're like, well, this isn't going to work now because of this other stuff that's going on, which isn't really their fault. They probably wanted to do something with it, but just didn't end up working out. So we get Scott. Climb out of the van.
I love him in this movie, by the way.
He's still good, dude.
He's still good. Like, he shakes Captain America's hand. He's like, I am shaking your hand for way too long. Like, dude, it's like, and then he's like, hey, sorry about, he's trying to talk to Sam, and Sam's like, oh, it was a good addition, but it'll never happen again. Like, dude.
Yeah. And then he turns to Wanda, and he's like, I know you too. You're great.
Dude. Fucking Scott is just, I fucking love him in this.
I can't remember why I wrote this. Clint says something here where he says something about like the reason that he's doing it, like the reason he's back again is he's like, I owe a debt.
Yes.
Which is referring to Pietro, I believe. I can't remember why he's like saying I owe a debt to Wanda or I owe a debt to something. Yeah. And it's referring to Pietro. But so then they go out to the airport and Cap runs out and Tony shows up in his suit, which it's funny, like you kind of looking back on it, it's easy to tell like he's getting close to like the Infinity War suit look. Like it's starting to look more and more like that suit.
It is. It is very much so.
No, obviously it's not nanotech, but
but you can see the progress he's made throughout.
Just like the visual design of it, like looks very much like that. So like it's progressing there very slowly.
Yep. So I wrote this airport scene is the movie at its peak, and even more, it's the MCU. Like, there's almost no scene that beats this airport scene. This airport scene is just it's top tier quality. Like,
It's really fucking good. I would say if I had to pick one out of this movie, I would probably take the end scene with Bucky and Cap and Iron Man. But this one is like in terms of like overall MCU. This is one of the best scenes out there. Like in terms of action, easily. You get Underoos and he jumps in, steals Cap's shield. Ant-Man's new suit. Oh my god, I was thinking about that. I was so unsure when we were watching Ant-Man. I was like, is this his suit?
Yeah,
like, is this what it always is? Because I was like, I don't really like this. Like, I don't really love his suit in the first movie.
No, in this
one,
oh boy,
I love his suit in this.
So good looking.
Really like it.
Yeah, so we, like you said, we get the shield stealing, and then like they're talking, they're having a back and forth, and they're wasting the time on purpose because they're waiting. And they're like, oh hey, we have the Quinjet, it's in the carrier, blah blah blah, or not the carrier, the
hangar,
the hangar, and then he's like okay, so he puts his hands up, and fucking Hawkeye shoots it, breaks the thing, and then he's like, and the Spider-Man's like, oh, he's like, something's on the shield, and then fucking Ant-Man like takes the oh, it's so good.
Yep, and then we get Falcon and Bucky versus Spider-Man, which is really good.
Wait, there's a couple lines that I absolutely love where they're like, "Oh, it's weird how you run into people at the airport." We did miss over that one, and then there's a part where Bucky and he's like, "What the hell was that?" And like he's like, "Everybody's got a gimmick now." Like, dude, it's so like some of these. Lines,
everybody's got a fucking gimmick now as he's swinging past them. Yeah, and I love as well here they do set up visually without telling you his spider sense, because he goes, oh god, and his eyes widen on the suit, and then he dodges, and you're like, oh, that's Spidey sense, but they don't have to say it, like you can just see that.
It because he still doesn't fully have it, by the way, like it's a very on and off thing, because even in the next Spider-Man, or actually the first Spider-Man movie that comes up, he doesn't fully have it, but he does have it sometimes. Like you can tell he has no control of it fully yet. Like you can tell he hasn't peaked as Spider-Man. Because there's a few.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll go over it when we get to those and kind of compare back, because they definitely do a lot with it in Far From Home. Oh, for sure. They just don't really. He has it in Homecoming. They just don't focus on it. Like there's no scene where he's like, oh, and dodges something. You know what I mean? But I just love that one-off little like visual cue to let you know like he's got that. And so he beats the shit out of both of them, and they're just laying there. And I think it's Falcon, and he's just like, I hate you.
Yep.
It's so good.
Also, before this, I just want to make sure, like, Tony really legit did not want to fight, by the way. He really tried very, very, very hard.
I mean, neither of them do. None of them want to fight. Like, Cap's like you don't understand. We have to get here, or this can be really fucking bad if he lets these super soldiers out. And Tony's like, listen, we got to do this together and do it right and sign these fucking accords, and then we can focus on whatever this is. And they both don't want to fight. They both have their own things that they need to get done, that they don't want this to happen. And you could tell as well, like they're fighting, but some of them are like holding back. Like obviously, Black Widow and Hawkeye are holding back on each other.
Oh yeah,
but, like,
and fucking dude, and what's it called? Like so, yeah, they're having like so you have the whole.
We get the lineup like face off. Yeah, and they start running. And then I love the way they like collide when it hits. Is so fucking good. It's like this like one take through them as they like all hit each other.
Hold on, we skipped over the part where he fucking throws a truck and it blows up, and he's like, "I thought that was a water truck." Like he's like, "Shit!" Like, oops.
I don't think is that happening?
Yeah, that happened already. Yeah, because I wrote it here in like about the lineup. I have a kind of a long. Yeah. But there's also the scene where Tony gets absolutely railed on by these cars.
Yeah.
It was like multiple contusions detected, and Tony's like, "Yeah, I detected that too." Like, which I know. Like,
I love that because Hawkeye's like, "I don't miss," and he's like, "Well, first time for everything." He's like, "Is there?" And he didn't actually miss because he meant to just distract him or whatever. Yeah. Really cool.
So I wrote about the alignment. It's almost the perfect alignment of each group. You have Black Panther and Bucky across from each other. Iron Man and Cap, obviously. You have Widow and Hawkeye. Funny enough, it's Wanda and Vision are opposite shoulders of Widow. Like, okay, so on one scene, it's like Vision's over one shoulder, and then Wanda's over the other shoulder. They're both flying in the background. And then you have what's it called? Fuck. Sorry, I'm having a fucking blank here. You have the two like funny, smart ass people, Ant-Man and Spider-Man, across from each other, and then you have like the two military buddy sidekicks across from each other, which is Sam and
Yeah.
thing. So, but what ends up happening is when they start running at each other,
It all
somehow
just
it
goes to
mixes
shit.
up, and yeah, somehow it mixes up, and they're fighting different people. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if that was an editing thing or what, but they like literally right up to the lineup where they clash. It's almost exactly perfectly aligned, and then literally like it's pants to another scene, and they're fighting completely different people.
It's
like,
intentional because they hit, and it's just like they're just fighting.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like they might be lined up facing each other, but they're not like lined up like, all right, this is my guy. You know what I mean? They're just like, I'm fighting whoever I can get my hands on. So I love this as well. This is I said this about in that scene in Age of Ultron as well, but this one is way better in terms of this. Like, it's another one where you can watch it and just every time you watch this movie, just pick a new fight to focus on, and you'll find something different that you've never seen before.
Yep.
And it's amazing because there's so much going on in like each of these shots. You've got like 2 or 3 fights happening. And let's see. So we get like, you know, Spider-Man and Cap, and he's like, that thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Yeah.
And you get, let's see, Hawkeye shooting Ant-Man. He's like, I'm good, Arrow guy. I'm good. Let's go.
And then you have Wanda who fucking hits Black Widow, and he's like, you were pulling your punches to
because they were. She was like, are we still friends?
Yeah, but Wanda is the MVP in this whole fucking team because they would have lost a lot sooner without her. 100%, dude. She literally saved them like 3 times.
If she was better, she could have ended the whole thing before it started.
Cap outsmarts Spider-Man, where like Spider-Man has him like lashed, and then basically he like rotates himself and pulls fucking Spider-Man. And you have Ant-Man is a fucking moron in this scene. I hate it, but it's amazing at the same time. He ends up in Tony's suit.
Yeah, right? He goes, it's your conscience. We don't talk a lot.
Why did you have to speak, though, bro? Like, why?
It doesn't matter. He already knows that he's there.
No, he 100% didn't right away, right? Because literally Tony goes, what's going on? And then Friday's like, oh, there's suit malfunction. And she's like, I'll look, because she can't figure out what's going on. And then fucking Ant-Man's like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's like talking. It's like, why did you talk, bro? Like, I understand you're supposed to be a smartass, but it's like, you could have done a lot more damage.
Because if you think about it, the fact that Tony hears him means that he's already like tapped, because there's no possible way he could hear him unless he's like tapping in to look for that. So he had to know.
But yeah,
I think. I think either way, you know, he was getting flushed out regardless. It would have taken like 0.2 seconds longer for Friday to find it. Yeah. And it was worth it for that line because that's a good line. It's your conscience. We don't talk a lot.
Yes.
And then he gets flushed out, and soon after that we get Giant Man for the first time. There's so much shit in this movie that they introduce, bro.
Yeah. By the way, that's actually a note that I wrote. It's like, okay, so you know, Ant-Man is like, oh, I have a really big distraction because they asked for a big distraction because they're losing, and he's like, I can't hold it for long, but. He's like, you know, it should be enough time. But it's weird. Like you said, there's a lot that happens in this movie, but it's like, bro, he debuted the large Ant-Man in this movie instead of his own, which is awesome. And he legit did like a lot of damage. Like they were losing for a good bit.
Absolutely. And so, you know, he goes Giant Man, gets some good action going. I love it. I was so surprised. Like, just based off of, you know, previous incarnations of Spider-Man, like, it was funny to see Spider-Man just go, oh, shit, when he sees him. That's how you know it's kind of a different version. Because that's, like, of course, like, he's a teenager. He's like, what the fuck, you know? Like, that's exactly what anybody would say in that situation.
Black Panther notices that the distraction is working because he sees Bucky and Cap, because at this point, everybody's like, oh, no, we were never meant to make it out of this. We just need to get you out of this. And Black Panther notices that he's motivated by so much hate and rage that he doesn't even stop to help them out. He's literally just like, I gotta fucking get these two.
Yeah, fucking look at it over there.
Yeah, and then it's funny because it's like the whole point of these Sokovia Accords is to minimize damage, right? Wait, you fucking bro, they took out airplanes, trucks. Vision literally takes out a whole tower, bro.
I want to point out,
no one's inside, but that's still a lot of damage.
So Vision is on Tony's side, right? So I just want to point out, though, this is so interesting to me, and I mean. It might not be intentional, but I feel like it is because they're very specific about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Watching the fight up until that point with Vision, and it's Vision. Like he doesn't see the world in the same way that they do. Like he's not. So he does that shit, but everybody else on Tony's side, I feel like they make a specific point not to destroy shit.
Yeah.
But Cap and his team on the other hand, blowing up planes, Ant-Man's fucking stomping on shit, snapping things in half. But Tony's side, everybody's avoiding that. They're not doing anything up until Vision fucks that up. But it's Vision, so it's like, I don't know, he doesn't see it in the same way. He's like, fuck it, it's a tower, they can rebuild it. He's a robot. But everybody else is like very intentionally just focused on trying to stop them.
Yes, very
so
much so.
I thought I feel like that's intentional. It's very cool if so.
And then you have, of course, they barely make it under the tower.
They do. Well, they do, Spider-Man's like, you guys ever seen that movie Empire Strikes Back?
Oh my god, yeah, and fucking Tony rolls his eyes.
And Rhodey's like, how old is this guy?
Yeah, he's like,
I don't know. I didn't carbon date him, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says, yeah. But it's so funny because, basically they take him down, they take down Ant-Man, and then like, Spider-Man kind of gets shit on, and then he's like on the ground. He's kind of like out cold, and Tony kind of wakes him up, and he's like, and he's like, "You're done. Go home, or I'm calling May." Like, but he's like, "Get the fuck out of here! Like, you're going home."
Yeah. He's like, "No, I still okay. Never mind. Actually, I'm done."
But Cap's team technically won, because Widow betrays Iron Man, so Cap's team won, but literally at what cost, bro? Like, and what, like,
it is at what cost, but it's also what they're doing. When you really think about it, is so much more important that it's like it is at a cost, but they have to do it. Like they don't have a choice because the consequences could be catastrophic otherwise. At least that's what they think. They don't realize what's actually going to happen. Obviously,
you ready though? You ready? This is actually another one of my favorite Vision and Wanda scenes because Vision's checking on Wanda, right? And so Rhodes is like, "Hey, I have a tail on me. Like, help me out. What the fuck are you doing?" And Vision's so distracted by Wanda, just real quick, doesn't even realize that Rhodes is over there. He just takes a shot at Sam. Like, he doesn't fully pay attention to what's going on. He just takes a shot because he sees Sam, and he's like, "Fuck it. Like, that's all I need to do." Sam dodges, and boom, Rhodes gets hit. And the shot of him falling is so well done, right? Because it's like,
he's just in a spiral.
Yeah, they don't show you the ground until
he hits
right before he hits it, and it's not even just that. Some of the stuff he yells out like, it's actual military.
Flying dead stick or something.
Yeah, he's flying dead stick, and then he's like, canopy. I think is what he said. No, is that what he says? So, he says something. Yeah, he says something. But it's all very military lingo, which is a nice little detail. There's not a lot of movies that have to do that. They don't even have to do that. We wouldn't even think about it. But yeah, like it's
I will point out here that I was wrong. I can't remember when we talked about it. I want to think it was like Iron Man 2, Iron Man 1, but we talked about the scene. And we were talking about how he like got his back broken or whatever, and I had thought that the blast hit him like grazed his back, but it actually hits the front where the core is.
Yeah.
So what fucked him up was actually purely just the impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that might have affected the front of his body somehow, but it wasn't his spine.
Yeah.
So really, it was just the fall. So we're just gonna re-go over that and say, yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I missed that. I guess I remembered it so vividly being like the back because I thought it was like hitting because he has like some thrusters on his back. I thought it was like taking out his back thrusters, but it was like the whole core.
Yeah.
So yeah, he hits and
Sam feels super bad, even though technically it's not Sam's fault.
Really, he's like, oh my god, is he okay? And Tony just fucking blasts him.
Petty as shit, dude. So fucking petty. So here's where we finally get to see everything slowly unraveling. And what I mean by that is like they hear about the wig and something to look like Bucky Barnes, and then the guy dead in the fucking the bathtub, and like everything slowly starts to come out. And then we have the conversation between Tony and Vision, and so Vision's learning more and more about himself and his feelings for Wanda because he literally says something like, he's like, "I'm sorry, I was distracted by Wanda," and Tony's like, "That's not supposed to be able to happen." He's like,
I didn't think that was possible, and he's like, "Yeah, me neither."
Yeah, me neither. Oh, so good, dude. It's very subtle, but it's there. They're building that relationship so nicely. The
doctor that Zemo killed, like the body in the bathtub, is actually again one of the Russo brothers. Just like one of them also played a doctor in Winter Soldier, the one that comes in and is like, "Let me take her" or whatever when they go and meet up with Fury at the end. So I think this is the other Russo. I can't remember who's who.
Yeah,
but actually I think it's the same one.
Probably.
I think it's the same guy. Oh, what if it's the same doctor too? Holy shit. It is, isn't it?
It might be, yeah.
Because they work for S.H.I.E.L.D., so of course he would have been like the one that would have gone in to talk to Bucky. That makes perfect fucking sense. Holy shit. So it's like the same character. I think.
Gentlemen, you saw here.
What?
Drew blew his own mind. Like,
Yeah.
you're thinking about it. You're
I
like,
mean, I thought about it before, but now it's like fully kind of clicking. I guess.
yeah,
That would
everybody just got to see you live, blowing your mind.
Yeah.
But,
So Zemo, at this point, Zemo finds like the bunker and the soldiers.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but
It's
wait.
like kind of quickly we see him opening the door and stuff.
But they don't show us what's inside because they pan over to Tony and fucking Black Widow. And again, I fucking hate Tony in this movie, bro. Like up to this point because he's so fucking petty. He's so fucking petty, bro. He's so mad about Rhodes. He's so mad about not catching them that he's just like, fuck you. Like Ross is coming to get you. You betrayed us. Like Black Panther gave you away. Like, bro, he's such a dick. And like, he literally is a dick up until this very, very point at the end of this conversation because then he sees that news, like that article thing. And now he starts to do research. Now he starts to slow down because, oops, maybe they were kind of right. Like, he was not listening to anything up to this point. Like, Cap tried to tell him, like, you know, they didn't want to fight, obviously. But Tony's like, stop trying to make excuses for your friends. Like, you're wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, again, he does, you know, get that thing that kind of flips him at the end here. But he's still kind of like, it's not crazy for him to be acting that way, especially because, of course, he should be pissed at her because in his mind, she's a part of the reason that all this, like her turning ended up leading to Rhodes getting shot and fucking like hits his best friend in the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
He has every right to be pissed.
So when I say I hate him, right? Like, I hate him in like I still love him as a character, but I just hate like the way he is up to this point. Like it's fully believable. It's 100%. It's funny because I feel like you lean more towards Iron Man side and I lean more towards Cap side. Like you see,
I'm all the way on Cap side.
Yeah, but it's like part of me is just like fuck Iron Man. Like bro, like up to this point, it's like I hate the way he is. He's being very petty. Like his ego is definitely getting the best of him. Like he wants to be right. He does not want to be wrong. 100%. That's how it is. And it's just like fuck you, Tony. Like you should have just taken a minute.
So we go to the raft, or he goes to the raft,
which
is very interesting. We're seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, because that's more of a, I mean, it's an all villains thing, but you definitely hear more of the raft in Spider-Man. That's where you have like the Sinister Six and a lot of Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
But, it's still for villains in general. It's basically the Arkham the Arkham Asylum, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
For villains in the MCU.
So he walks in there and. What is it? So he's like walking past all them and they're like yelling out at him. And I love Ant-Man's like, Hank Pym always said, never trust a Stark, which is a nice callback to that. Yeah. And he just goes, who the fuck are you? And Ant-Man's like, oh, fuck. Man, I thought it was cooler than that.
Yeah.
And you know, he gets, you know, the information he needs from Falcon of where Cap went. Because he's like, listen, I was wrong. I need to go help him. Yep. They're in too deep, more than they think. And, you know, he leaves, and Ross is like, well, what happened? He's like, nothing, but I'll let you know if anything happens. And he's like, well, just, blah, 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 I'll call you, whatever. He's like, yeah, I'll put you on hold. I like to watch the line blink.
So actually, there's a scene kind of before this where Tony kind of sort of starts to tell Ross about some of the stuff that's happening. You know, legit happening. Like, he's trying to tell Ross, hey, you know, this is bad. This is happening. We should take care of this. And it shows Cap's point of Ross is like, fuck you. He's like, I should have you arrested. Like, yeah. But he, like, ignores, like, completely being a piece of shit, ignores what Tony's legitimately telling him, hey, this is dangerous. Something's going to happen. And it's just like.
Hey, he's kind of like Tony.
Yeah, he's just brushing him off. He's just like, fuck you. Like, I should have you arrested. Meanwhile, it goes to show Cap's right. You know, they're just eventually they'll be petty and just be like, who cares? Like, we're not doing this because you told us to. Like, and that's exactly what happens with that.
Right. So
Clint gives Tony the shit he deserves, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
And then we get
down the audio.
Yeah, and talks to Falcon.
Yep.
And gets you know, he's like, listen, we gotta fix this. Yeah. Like, yep. I know I was wrong. Like, I can go help them. I'll go alone.
Yep. Yeah. And you said all this. Sorry, I was trying to get myself back into where we were.
And then. Yep, and then he gets in the helicopter, and we have possibly one of the coolest suit ups he's ever had.
I wrote this is one of the best suit up sequences ever. So cool, dude. He literally gets flipped. He starts to get suited. It flips him out to the fucking, and then just it's
so fast, bro. It's 2 seconds.
Cool, dude. Yeah, and of course you get Black Panther who's following him with one of the ships that is cloaked.
One of the Wakandan ships. Yep.
Then we have a nice back and forth between Buck and Cap about their little memories.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And they're heading in, and let's see. So yeah, Tony shows up,
uh,
and he's like, "Listen, I'm here to fucking help. Like, relax. Let me help you guys." And then they walk
yeah,
in.
so it's funny because they're expecting this big old war. They're expecting this big old fight, and it's just Iron Man. Like Iron Man's already there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And then they walk in, and they're like, ready for it, ready for it. And then you see, boom, there's a bullet on each one of the glass, and you're like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Hold on, I want to make sure I say this before we get up to this next part, because I wrote, knowing where this leads at now sucks, right? But at the time when you're watching this, you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. They're getting along again. Like, this is about to be a payoff. They're about to like win, because that's what you would think. It's supposed to be a superhero, right? You're supposed to think, cool, like they're starting to be on the same side again. Nothing's gonna go wrong. They're about to fight the big bad. Like, that's what that built up part is. Like,
Yeah.
it's like they're sighted again, and here we go. We're gonna get like the payoff of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude. Oh.
And it's just such a huge fucking twist, and it's so good,
God,
dude. It's so good. And
Yep.
Zemo's like in the bunker, and he starts talking to them, and he's like, he kind of reveals basically, about his wife and all that, and he's like, why would, like, how can I, like, I can't, I'm just a regular dude, I can't fucking kill you guys, but what if I could turn you on each other?
Yes.
And then he turns on the video.
Yep. Actually, there's a line that said when Cap and this goes to show you like Zemo's like personality really well, because he's talking. He's like, yeah, you guys are meant to be heroes. He's like, my family like loved you. Like, he doesn't say this, but I'm saying like he's we're supposed to idolize him, right? And then he says, "There's a little green in your blue eyes," which is funny because I was thinking like, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah, because like you're not actually as perfect up close as I thought you were.
Exactly, dude. It's so good. That's a very well delivered line. He's like, "There's a little green in your blue eye," like as in like, "Bitch, you're nowhere near as perfect as you want to come off." Like, so good.
Yeah, and I love
everything is Sokovia.
Yes, he did. Yeah, his wife
and then we have a build up, right? Because now we go back to the scene, like you said. Now to go back to where you left off is like, yes, the computer monitor gets turned on, and we're starting to see the recording. And you're like, oh, this looks familiar. Like, okay, and he
recognizes it immediately because he's seen like he knows the car and he recognizes the date. Of course, he recognizes the date like fucking immediately. He's like, what is this? Like as soon as it turns on.
Ooh, boy,
it's fucking horrifying, dude. It's so dark.
It's tense. It's hard to watch, and you can see Tony's fucking internal like mental clock just breaking as he's watching this. You can Robert Downey Jr., you god, bro. His acting in this scene is like he's curious, and now he's starting to realize like, okay, hold on, what the fuck is this? And like he's watching it, and like first you see like the accident, and you see it's his dad, and he's like, okay, like what the fuck? And like you can see that he doesn't break until Bucky goes over to the other side and literally tortures his mom to death. Like he holds her, like chokes her, and then fucking like basically, I don't know, snaps her neck kind of.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
Bro, and it's like, you can see Tony's anguish, bro. It build up, and that's when it kills him, because he's like, did you know? And Cap's like,
Cap at first is like, I didn't know it was him, which is such a weird. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like,
because I'm sure Cap knew about the other soldiers. I guarantee you, Cap knew about the other soldiers.
But then right after, he's like, yeah, I knew it was him.
Yeah, he's like, I knew. He's like, yeah, I knew. And then, bro,
he's like, Tony, don't do this, and he goes, I don't care. He killed my mom. And then boom.
Which means he's more upset. It's not that he doesn't care about his dad. Of course, he loves his dad.
Yeah, he does.
But I need everybody.
But there's a lot of like tension and resentment there, especially like in Iron Man 2. They kind of go over that.
Oh, of course, right? But here's the thing. You realize that Tony doesn't really start loving and appreciating his dad, right? Until Endgame, where he becomes a father.
Yes, exactly.
That's where he loves his dad. That's where he's like, fuck, like, I understand everything that my dad went through.
Yeah, anyway, for sure.
So he's more upset because, like he said, you killed my mom. Like, he obviously fucking...
Yeah, I don't care. He killed my mom.
My mom. Ooh, bro.
And then they just launch into the fucking fight.
Yep. Also, say what you want. This is not Captain America. This isn't Avengers. This is Zemo's movie. This is 100%.
Yeah.
He is barely in the movie, but his presence is felt throughout. He won. He is the first real legit villain to win. Exactly.
Yeah, this is. I was gonna say this is like another case of like when we talked about Iron Man 2 of like Ivan, and he's like, I win, I made you bleed or whatever.
Yeah,
like, no, not really. But this is what he wished he had done.
Yes.
Like this is what he was trying to do.
Oh my god!
But he just failed miserably.
Zemo won, and he won so gloriously, bro.
Yes.
But he also didn't get to eat his cake. He got his cake, but he didn't get to eat it. I'll tell you in a second why.
Yeah. Well, so so we get, they're fighting and kind of starts to go up. Like Bucky's trying to escape, and they do a few things.
There's a few fights, but there's a couple lines here that I don't want to move away from because, Tony has like he gets like a really good shot manually on the
which is really cool. He's like, I'll eyeball it.
Yep, and then one of my favorite lines, Tony says, "Do you even remember them?" And fucking Buck, dude, that's heart wrenching. He says, "I remember all of them, dude."
Yeah.
So good, so good.
Which Falcon and Winter Soldier, you see, is very true.
Yes. And then the teamwork that Tony gets absolutely shit on, bro.
Yeah, I said, absolutely gorgeous shot of them shitting on him.
yeah, dude. Like
it's so beautiful. It's like this nice one take of that back and forth, boom, 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 boom.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Bucky loses his arm because he's trying to rip out.
Well, he kind of he throws whatever, and then you get that shot of Cap and Tony where like it's like the classic comic panel of like them clashing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Bucky lost his arm at this point because
I wrote though, how the fuck did he lose? How? I've never thought about this. I don't know why it hit me this time, but like, what the fuck? Like, his arm is made out of vibranium, and Tony just cut through it with a repulsor. Like, that's not a thing.
Made out of vibranium? Because I don't think they say it.
Yes, dude. Yes, it totally is. It has to be. I swear to God, it is.
Yeah, I swear Bucky's arm is not made. No, I swear it's not because I thought the same thing, and I don't think so. I think exactly. I think his second one is. I don't think his first one is.
I thought it's a cybernetic implant. Titanium. Yes, titanium. Oh, you're right. It's the second one.
It's the second one that's made out of vibranium. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have made sense because like you said, he would have been able to fucking absolutely shred to capture. Yeah. Yeah. So no. Yeah, it's the second one that's made out of vibranium.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so, dude.
So, yeah, they're fighting, and then we cut back to Zemo listening to his message one last time, and he deletes it, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, okay, he's let go. He's done. He's let go. He got what he wanted done. And T'Challa confronts Zemo, and it's so hard not to feel bad for him. It really is hard not to feel bad for Zemo, because it's like, he lost everything. Yeah,
but he's like such a, you understand.
Dude,
that's what all the best villains are.
Boy, this gives me chills when he says, he says something along the lines of like the Avengers, they dropped like buildings on everybody, like they shouldn't, and what at the end they just went home. Like, his delivery gives you chills because it's like it's true. At the end of the day, they just went home. Mm-hmm. Like, and they didn't even stop to think of all the damage they caused. Tony, of course, did, but it's like, damn.
Way later,
And this is where I wrote, this movie is absolutely dark. It gives you like a very, very dark sense and a very real, grounded thing of, yes, the Avengers is necessary, but it has its drawbacks, unfortunately.
I think that aside from probably Endgame, this is the best movie for character building in the entire MCU.
Absolutely, because
every single character has an arc. T'Challa's arc in this is fucking amazing.
He flat out was like, he's like, I see how vengeance has consumed you, and I will not let it consume me. He's like, and I will not let it consume me. Oh, and then you think Zemo again. This is what I say. He got his cake, but he didn't get to eat it because the end of his plan was clearly to kill himself. And let it go. Said, not today, boy, bro. He fucking doesn't let him.
Yeah, I know. Imagine if he had shot himself though. I mean, even more dark. I mean, it's already dark. The fact that he tried to.
But
it's so cool. It's so cool. It's so fucking good.
So now you have Tony and fucking Cap, and Cap's absolutely shitting on Tony with the hand to hand. And Friday says you can't beat him in hand to hand. And then so he's like, learn the patterns, and like Friday's like, okay, patterns. Learned, like, taking measures, bro. It's so good.
What's wonder about this is like when Tony's fighting, how much of like is he able to just like kind of trigger off and on like when people can hear him? Because he says that out loud, and you'd think Cap would be like, "Oh, let me switch it up or something." But I think he must be able to like switch off and on, like when people can hear him.
Soundproof, probably.
Yeah. But So he does that, analyzes him, and then the tides kind of turn, and he starts beating the shit out of Cap. Yeah, and you get, of course,
I can do this all day.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Which is great for his last movie, his last trilogy, in the trilogy. I mean.
So I wrote, the fight between these three is so brutal. Like, it's not even just brutal, right? You can see the hate and the love between them. Like, you can legit see this when they're fighting. You can see that there's regret. but they all have a sense of duty of doing what's correct. Like, it's not that they want to fight, but they feel like what they're fighting for at this point surpasses what the other person's fighting for. It's so well done, bro. And like basically they shut down the suit, Iron Man suit. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, when he's doing that, the music and the build up and the tension of this, when he's smashing the shield into him on the ground.
Yes.
I remember, and even to this day, I remember watching it in the theaters, I was freaking out. I was like, what the I was like, what is going on? Because the way they were building it, I was like, is he like killing him? Like I was like, what the fuck is this? They're like making it so serious because like, you know, obviously after Iron Man 3, he doesn't have the thing stopping he has no shrapnel anymore. But they almost treat it as if it is that, like he's like stopping his heart, basically, like the way that they build it.
Yes,
like I was so concerned watching it for the very first time in theaters. I was like, oh my god, like this is gonna be like, what are they doing? Like, is he like crippling him? Because like Tony's like freaking out and Cap's like, fuck, and he's like hitting him.
It's so good.
It's terrifying and like really sad too.
Right? If you want to get technical, he did technically handicap Iron Man. Like, if you want to think of it as Tony Stark as one character, but Iron Man as another, he did technically handicap Iron Man. Like, he shut him down. He like, and like you said, when he gets smashed against the rock, he like it's built up like they're about to paralyze Tony, like you said, and he doesn't obviously.
Yeah, because that last hit, they're like he like lifts it, and you're like, oh shit, and then he brings it down super hard, and like, oh shit, what just happened?
Yeah,
and then it just kind of his thing blinks out, and he's like really fucked up and beat to shit. But and then Tony's like, that shield doesn't belong to you. That's my dad's shield.
Yeah,
and he just leaves the shield.
Yep.
So cool. I forgot about that because I remember like he doesn't have a shield in Infinity War, but I forgot that's why.
Oh my god, dude. So, and then we have to sit down with Ross and Zemo, and Ross is kind of like, oh, haha, you lost.
He's fucking
like,
failed.
Everything you did, he's like, was for nothing, and he kind of was like,
he's like, did it fail?
Yeah, did it fail?
Did it really?
And it's like, bro, like no.
And you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have.
Rhodey walking.
Yeah, we're about to get to one of my favorite cameos, by the way.
Oh yes, yeah, this is top tier.
They're talking, and having like a nice back and forth, and then he's like, is everything okay? Is there anything I can help you with? Like he's talking to Rhodey, and he's like, hey, if you can put some AC down here, towards my get cut off. And then one of my favorite
Stanley cameos.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, Stanley comes up and he like knocks on the glass and he's like, package for Tony Stank.
And then Rhodes is like, oh yeah, Tony Stank. He's like,
right here.
I needed that. He's like, I needed that.
And he's like, I'm never letting that one go. So he's back at his desk, and Ross calls him, and he puts it on hold and starts watching the line blink.
Yep.
And then he opens like the envelope or whatever, and it's the phone that comes back in Infinity War that Cap leaves for him. And you get that nice little speech, and you see Cap going to the raft to break everybody out.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the end, and then we get the post credits with Bucky going under in Wakanda.
He's left with Wakanda, yeah.
Which was so interesting because I was watching that and I was like, oh yeah, right, and then Black Panther is the next one, and then I backed out of Disney Plus and I was like, it's 3 movies away. Like what the fuck? Why they set it up so early compared to like when it actually released.
Yeah.
And then you get the second post credit scene with Spider-Man,
a little where.
Yeah, which is like, I guess it's just kind of like a fun thing letting you know like he's still there and he will return. And then also just kind of a nod to like the spider signal in the comics, or the Spidey signal in the comics, which is nice.
Yep.
Which I don't think, do we see that again? Does that show up in Homecoming? Does he use that? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. But
that's it.
No, wait. Isn't there like a scene? Oh no. Yeah. It's when what's his name?
Peter, Tony, Bucky.
No, it's when they're putting Bucky in the thing. T'Challa's like, he's like, aren't you worried that they'll come for him? And he's like, not at all, bro.
Let him try, bro.
Yeah, and then like they back up, and it's like you get like
your first
glimpse of like a partial Wakanda, and it's very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah. I remember seeing that first time. I was like, ooh, I'm hyped for Black Panther.
Yes.
And then it didn't come out for like 4 years or something, but yeah, that was Jesus Christ.
Oh, this movie, man.
Oh my god, dude.
It's top quality. I don't want to say where I rank it yet, but I already know where I'm ranking this movie. It's so good.
I mean, it's minimum top 5.
Oh
minimum, if not top 3.
Yeah, dude. So good.
Oh man, this movie, yeah, this is, I mean, like the Russo brothers obviously are fucking amazing, and this like just proved it again. Like they just doubled down. They took Winter Soldier and are like, fuck it, let's do even better.
At this
Like-
point, if you haven't seen this movie and you've stuck around like long enough to listen to us, like you clearly just don't want to watch it. Like,
Go watch it, dude.
I know so many people that don't even care about the MCU that were like, "Oh, I'm so watching this." I know so
Yeah,
many
yeah, because it was such a that's what I'm saying. It was such a huge social thing of like the Team Cap, Team Iron Man.
Yeah.
It was such a big fucking deal, and I was right there with it. I was like, I'm hashtag Team Cap, hashtag Team Cap.
Dude.
It was such a great time when this movie was coming out. It was such a huge like just fucking event.
Yes.
And it stands the test of time easily. I think it will stand the test of time forever. Like this movie is going to age phenomenally.
Absolutely, for sure.
I mean, especially because of the large amount of practical effects is a huge deal. Like that helps, and that's that's just again credit to the Russo brothers for everything. Like, I can't believe they come in phase 2, make Winter Soldier best movie up until that point of the MCU, and then they come in and make this and they just blow everything else out of the water again.
Oh my god,
It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Dude, for me, I'm not even gonna lie to you. A 10 out of 10 for me, straight up. Honestly.
This movie is a 10. Absolutely, top to bottom. Like, there's literally nothing bad about this movie. I mean, the only thing I would say, I guess that like you could like cut and I wouldn't really care or miss it is maybe like Sharon. Like, I guess you could cut that, but I still don't care. Like, it's still cool. It's interesting to watch.
She's not enough in the movie to ruin it at all.
Yeah, and it's not even just her as a character. I just mean like you don't really need her scenes aside from just them getting her gear back.
Yeah.
Like you could have just had him go to her funeral and she didn't have to make that speech or whatever. But like it's still nice. Like she's nice and it's nice to see Cap like have some happiness as well after losing Peggy and all this horrible shit.
Yep.
So yeah, 10 out of 10. Watch this movie. It's amazing. I hope you've all seen it. That's if you stuck around for this 12-hour episode that we just made. But, holy shit.
We're so dead when it comes to Avengers, dude. I'm calling it right now.
Oh my god. Endgame is going to be like an actually 4-hour episode.
Dude, it's probably going to be a 2-parter for sure.
But, yeah, we might. Yeah, maybe.
But anyways, yeah, so that's going to be it for this episode.
Yeah, thanks for watching and or listening. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.